Idam, these, jnanam, knowledge. Upashritya, taking shelter of. Mama, my sadharmyam. Mama, sorry, mama means my. Sadharmyam, dharmyam, same nature. Sadharmyam, same nature. Agataha, having attained. Sarge api, even in the creation. Na, never. Upajayante, are born. Pralaye, in the annihilation. Na, not. Yatanti, disturbed. Sha, also. Translation. Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Mataji, please mute off your mic. Thank you. So, translation. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the track my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So, this is the, wait, I think someone is not muting the mic. Yes, okay. Everyone is muted. So let me share my screen again. So this second shloka, right? So Krishna is telling us what is the benefit, what is the stuti, palat stuti. In every prayers we have palat stuti, but it means what is the benefit? So now Krishna is telling Arjuna that by the end of this chapter 14, when you have fixed in this knowledge, what I'm going to give, about to give, so Krishna is telling, Mama sadharmyam vartha paikiraru. Mama means another, Mama my. So you can become like me. அப்படின்ற ஒரு வார்த்தையை சொல்றாரு. So how to understand this? Prabhupada is translating here as, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Mama sadharmyam agataha. அப்படின்றத first point கொடுக்குறாரு. Krishna is giving us the first point. So what is the meaning here? That we attain the same nature like God. Is it like we become God? We get the equal status of God? What is the meaning here? Anyone like to try? What is the meaning of Mama sadharmyam agataha?
Can get its wisdom.
Okay, yes, by getting this knowledge, okay, by become fixed in this knowledge, so but if you get this knowledge, Krishna is telling one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. So what's the meaning that like my own nature? What do you understand?
Can I say, Prabhu, like this? Transcendental nature nu solrappa vandittu transcending something. Transcending means transcending the material modes of nature, which is temporary, which is changing everything. So coming to my own, transcendent nature, like my own, more of like the spiritual nature, eternal, Chit Ananda Vigraha. That thing I would say, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Right. So, correct. What Prabhu have said is correct. So, நம்ம என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கிறோம்னா, when Krishna says, Mama sadharmyam agataha, அப்படின்னா, by this process of Krishna consciousness, by understanding and practicing Krishna consciousness and attaining the perfection in Krishna consciousness, one can go back to Godhead. Point. We go back to our original position. Our original position is actually Satchit Ananda Vigraha. None different than Krishna, actually. Krishna is also Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Our position is also that, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. So that is why our philosophy is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have given. What is the philosophy? Achintya Beda Abeda. So actually there is actually Abeda, no difference. Tia Ada Beza, Abeza, Tida Beza. Our nature and Krishna's nature, our quality and Krishna's quality, there is no difference. So this is actually the oneness. This is the real Advaita. Qualitatively, we are one. Right? But Mahaprabhu is also telling us there is also some Veda, Beza, Abdina, Beza, difference. So what is the difference? The Jivatma is always quantitatively, it is inferior. Quantitatively, it is subordinate. Is the point. Right? So when Krishna spoke here that you can attain my transcendental nature, that means qualitatively we can get the perfection of this qualitative stage. Because right now, in this material world, okay, what we are having right now, we are not on our perfect stage. Our nature is what? Satchidananda Vigraha. Eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss, spiritual form. ஆனா இப்ப நம்மளுக்கு என்ன செய்யறோம்? Full of miseries, temporary, full of துக்கம் இதா இருக்கு. அசட், அச்சித், நிர்ஆனந்த. இதான் நம்மளுடைய situation இப்ப. Not eternal. We are having a lot of problems. We are getting different bodies. We are keep changing bodies. So this is not our real position. That is why Krishna is telling, by understanding this knowledge, what knowledge? ஏற்கனவே கிருஷ்ணர் கொடுத்துட்டாரு சாப்டர் 2ல ஆத்ம ஞானம். இப்ப திரும்பி கிருஷ்ணர் நாலேஜ் கொடுக்குறாரு எப்படி இதை பெர்ஃபெக்ஷன் பண்றது. மோர் டீடைல் நாலேஜ் அபவுட் கோ பேக் டு காட் ஹேட். அதான் கிருஷ்ணா சொல்றாரு. புரியுதுங்களா? So basically we must remember the key point here is our original position is that we are spiritual entity. புரியுதுங்களா? What is our original position? That we are not this body. So when we understand this and we go back to Krishna, we got a spiritual body. Everything is spiritual, 100% spiritual. So adunala we are actually qualitatively we are same with Krishna, no different. We can see Krishna, we can play with Krishna, we can associate with Krishna, we can have a relationship with Krishna, we can serve Krishna. This is devotion. So in order to do that face to face, so you need to have a spiritual nature like Krishna. புரியுதுங்களா? So அதனாலதான் கிருஷ்ணா இங்க என்ன சொல்றாரு, நீ டைரக்டா என்கிட்ட வா, you will have that spiritual nature. உன்னுடைய உண்மையான ஸ்வதர்மம். அதான் அங்க பாக்குறாரு. இந்த வார்த்தை பாருங்களேன், சம்ஸ்கிருதம் மமசாதர்மியம். இதுதான் உன்னுடைய தர்மம், உன்னுடைய உண்மையிலேயே ஸ்வரூபம். என்னது? ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல். So அதுதான் இங்க கிருஷ்ணா சொல்றாரு. So when Krishna says you can attain my nature, that means qualitatively spiritual, eternal. Eternally we can serve Krishna. So we never become Krishna. அதை நம்ம தெளிவா புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Can we become God? Can we become God? Can or cannot? Cannot. So there is no way that we can become God. So the Advaitas, they only understand the Abheda. So Mahaprabhu is telling there is also Abheda and Veda. There is oneness and also difference. So this is the perfection of the Vedanta. This is the philosophy. Perfect. That's why Advaita philosophy is imperfect. Right? So அதுதான் இங்க கிருஷ்ணர் அடிக்கிறார். Actually indirectly Krishna is smashing Advaita also. If you in the inner meaning of this shloka, because by Krishna is telling you can attain my nature, Krishna is establishing the real Advaita, which is qualitatively same, but at the same time you are my servant. Quantitatively we are different position. So இதுதான் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Okay, so thus established one is not. அடுத்து சொல்றாரு, இத புரிஞ்சவன் என்னது? One is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Upajayante pralaya vyatanti cha அப்படின்றாரு. கண்டிப்பா. Once we go back to Krishna, even in this material world, note my point very carefully. Even in this material world, if we have perfected Krishna consciousness, we are not disturbed by creation or pralaya, time of annihilation, or we are not disturbed by anything. Janma, Mrityur, Jara, Vyadhi, we are not disturbed. Because we are always in our Shuddha Shattva position. So Shuddha Shattva means what? It is transcendental position, beyond the three modes of material nature. Right? We are not touched by Maya. Krishna saying, Mama Maya, Duratyaya. Right? So Mama Maya, Duratyaya. My material energy is very difficult to overcome. Mam evaye prapadyante. But once you surrender unto me, Mam evaye prapadyante. Krishna says, once you prapadyante, Krishnarku saranagati pannamodu, then easily, tarantite, then easily you can cross this Maya. So in the point, very simple, by actually situated in Krishna consciousness, even in this material world, we are not disturbed. So, இதுதான் point. So, conclusion என்ன? When we say liberation, mukti, அப்படின்னு என்ன அர்த்தம்? So, liberation சொன்னா, actually by following Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness, even in this material world, you can achieve liberation. There's no need for you to die and then go back to Krishna, then only you achieve liberation. No. புரியுதுங்களா என்ன சொல்றேன்னு? சூப்பர். நிறைய பேர் என்ன நினைப்பீங்கன்னா, நான் புக்தி அடையணும்னா, மோட்சம் அடையணும்னா, நான் செத்து போனாதான் மோட்சம் அடைய முடியும். ஏன் சொன்னோம்? குறைக்கணும். நான் செத்து போய் அப்பதான் நான் பகவான் கிட்ட போக முடியும் பக்தி செஞ்சு, அப்படிதான் நினைக்கிறீங்களா? காமன் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங். ஏன் சொன்னோம்?
Yes, Prabhu.
ஆனா இங்க கிருஷ்ணர் என்ன சொல்றாரு? அதே நீங்க பகவத்கீதையில படிச்சீங்கன்னா இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன்ல பிரபுபாட் வந்து கிளியரா எழுதுறாரு. முக்தி லிபரேஷன் என்னதுன்னு டெஃபினேஷன் கொடுக்குறாரு. So the definition of liberation is that change of consciousness. When our consciousness is Krishna consciousness, we are situated in 100% Krishna consciousness, that is liberation. அதான் புக்தி. நீங்க அதுதான் வந்து வைகுந்தத்துல செய்ய போறீங்க. இந்த உடல்லையும் செய்ய போறீங்க. இந்த உடலை விட்டு வைகுந்தத்திலையும் 100% கிருஷ்ண கான்சியஸ் தான். நோ டிஃபரண்ட். சரிங்களா? சோ அதனாலதான் நம்ம ஆச்சரியர்கள் என்ன சொல்றாங்க, வைஷ்ணவ ஆச்சரியர்கள் என்ன சொல்றாங்க, கிருஷ்ணா எனக்கு வைகுந்தம் கூட வேணாம். பாருங்க, நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோம், நான் வைகுந்தம் போனோம். பாருங்க, அதே ஒரு கிரீட் தான் ஆக்சுவலி, வைகுந்தம் போனோம். அப்கோர்ஸ் தட் இஸ் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் கிரீட். தப்பு கிடையாது, தப்பு கிடையாது. நான் வைகுந்தம் போனன்றது நல்ல விஷயம். ஆனா பக்தர்கள் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, தூய பக்தர்கள் அவங்க ஒரு படி மேல, நான் வைகுந்தம் போனதுனா கூட பரவாயில்ல, நான் நரகத்துக்கு போனாலும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை கிருஷ்ணா, ஆனா நரகத்திலையும் உங்களுடைய நாமத்தை நான் உச்சரிக்கணும், நரகத்திலையும் நான் உங்களை நினைக்கணும். இதுதான் லிபரேஷன், இதுதான் லிபரேட்டட் ஸ்டேட். சோ பக்தியோட தாக்கூர் வைஷ்ணவ ஆச்சாரியர் இருக்காரு நம்ம பரம்பரையில பாத்தீங்கன்னா, பக்தி வினோட தாக்கூர். சரிங்களா? பக்தி வினோட தாக்கூர் என்ன சொல்றாரு, அவர் பாருங்களேன், அவரு ஒரு எவ்வளவு பெரிய ஒரு ஆச்சாரியர்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, இஸ் எ வெரி எக்ஸால்டட் வைஷ்ணவா. ஆனா அவர் என்ன சொல்றாரு, என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, நான் வந்து எனக்கு அடுத்த பிறவியில ஒரு புழுவு, ஒரு பக்தர்கள் வீட்டுல, ஒரு தூய பக்தர் வீட்டுல ஒரு புழுவா இருந்தா கூட பிரச்சனை இல்லை அப்படின்றாரு. ஏன்னா அந்த புழுவா இருந்து பக்தருடைய சங்கம் எனக்கு கிடைக்கும். அது மனுஷனா பிறந்து பக்தர்கள் சங்கம் இல்லாம நான் அந்த கேவலமான வாழ்க்கையை வாழ்றதோட ஒரு புழுவா இருந்து பக்தர்கள் வீட்டுல நான் இருப்பேன்றாரு. இதுதான் வந்து லிபரேஷனுடைய மூட். புரியுதுங்களா? So liberation means change of consciousness. When you understand that you are not the body, and you understand that you need to serve Krishna, and you are practicing that and performing that 100% your consciousness, then you are liberated. So that is why Srila Prabhupada is liberated soul. That is why our acharyas are liberated soul. Even they come here, they are spiritual. 100%. They are not bound by the four defect. Making mistakes, illusion, cheating tendency, imperfect senses. They are not bound by that. That is why we are following them. That is why we are worshipping them. Because they are they are not material. They are spiritual. They are liberated souls. இதான் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஓகேங்களா? பாருங்க, ஒரு ஸ்லோகத்திலே வந்து பகவான் வந்து இது 2 விஷயம் சொல்றாரு. So by understanding this knowledge, by fixing this knowledge, you can go back to Krishna. At the same time, you are not disturbed by anything. So liberation means it doesn't matter wherever you are perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so shall we go to the purport? Okay. So Prabhu, please read the purport, first paragraph.
So, Prabhu. After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. It is understood from Vedic literature that the liberated souls who have reached the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always look to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his transcendental loving service. So, even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. Generally, in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by the 3 modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the 3 modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in the transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Person. Those who do not have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities of material form, this spiritual identity becomes formless because without any variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in this world, in the spiritual world there is also variegatedness. Those in ignorance of this think that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. But actually, in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. One who thus develop the spiritual qualities is not affected either by creation or by the destruction of the material world.
Yes, exactly. So after acquiring this perfect transcendental knowledge, so this is the equality we are speaking about. So what is the equality we are speaking about? We become eternal like Krishna. That means there's no birth and death. There's no repetitive birth and death. That is the equality we achieve. But at the same time, we does not lose our identity. It's very important. ஞான புரோபாட் பாருங்க பேச சொல்றாரு. Many people are thinking that once we go back to God, what we become? We become like God. We merge with God. Isn't it? So you see, Prabhupada is establishing here. Prabhupada is using the word variegatedness. Variegatedness. And that means there are varieties. இப்ப நம்ம இந்த மெட்டீரியல் யூனிவர்ஸ்ல பார்த்தோம்னாலே varieties இருக்கா? You know what is meaning varieties? That means we have different bodies, different vehicles, different people, different civilization, different society. Many things. Everything is different. Right or not? Even among our family member, everyone have a different taste, different look. Correct or not? Different character. So Prabhupada என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, this variegatedness is actually coming from spiritual universe. You understand the logic, you know? If there's no variegatedness in spiritual universe, that means then we cannot have variety here. Because எல்லாத்துக்கும் மூல காரணம் என்னது? பகவான் தான். பகவான். So பகவான் வந்து எங்க இருக்காரு? அவருடைய ஆன்மீக உலகத்துல இருக்காரு. Correct or not? அப்ப logic or not? When someone say, actually when we go back to God, there's nothing, all light, all Brahma Jyoti தான். No logic lah. Because material world எவ்வளவு varieties இருக்கு, எவ்வளவு variety சாப்பாடு இருக்கு, எவ்வளவு variety clothing இருக்கு. நீங்க ஷாப்பிங் போனீங்கன்னா எத்தனை ஹவர் எடுக்கும்? ஒரு ஹோல் டே எடுக்கும் ஷாப்பிங். நம்ம சூஸ் பண்ணி வாங்குவோம். அப்ப ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்ட் நினைச்சு பாருங்க. அப்ப பகவானுடைய சேவை செய்யறதுக்கு நம்ம எவ்வளவு வெரைட்டிஸ் இருக்கும், எவ்வளவு ரசங்கள் இருக்கும், எவ்வளவு மூடு இருக்கும். ப்ரோபர் சொல்றாரு பாருங்க. The mood of one can be a sakya friend, one can become parent, one can become in the relationship of a lover, the relationship of husband or wife. That is a basic. அந்த மாதிரி பல ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்கு. புரியுதுங்களா? வெரைட்டினஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ வெரைட்டிஸ் இருக்கும்போது they are different individual. பாயிண்ட் என்னன்னா, we don't lose our individuality. புரியுதுங்களா? If Hareshwaran Prabhu, once you reached Goloka Vrindavana, you are yourself, you are that individual. Whatever you are right now as an individual being, the same you, the Jivatma will be there in Vaikuntha. So இதுதான் point. You don't lose your identity. Not that once you go Vaikuntha, you become light. You become like a torch light or bulb. No. So அதுதான் இங்க பிரபுபாட் சொல்றாரு. சரிங்களா? So actually in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. So you have a spiritual form. Do you know that? All of us have a Siddha Deha. Siddha Deha. Deha means body. Siddha means the perfected body, spiritual body. So once we go back to God, we will be given our body. And we can serve Krishna according to that, our mood with our body. There's no difference between the body and soul. Right now, what we are doing? Prabhu, right now what we are studying? Chapter 2. Repetitively we are telling. Prabhus and Matajis, we are not the body. We are the spirit soul. But once you go back to spiritual world, what is the philosophy? The philosophy is you and the body are non-different.
Turn left.
புரியுதுங்களா? So once you go back to Vaikuntha, Prabhu, you are the body, you are the soul, no different. Why no different? Because both are spiritual.
Turn left.
புரியுதுங்களா என்ன சொல்றேன்னு? So this is the position of spiritual world. Okay? Wait over there. You just pass by and cross over. Right?
Perfect 10 ride, man.
So this is the point. Okay? So that's why Prabhupada is telling those in ignorance of this thing, that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. So, but actually in spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities and spiritual situation is called devotional life. There is activity. எப்படி இங்க நிறைய activity இருக்கோ அதே மாதிரி அங்கேயும் நிறைய activity இருக்கு. So the one who developed these spiritual qualities is not affected. அதனால தான் பிரபுபாத் என்ன சொல்றாரு? If you have understood this and if you have achieved liberation, then you are not disturbed by destruction or creation. Whether you are in a hell, whether you are in heaven, whether you are in Vaikuntha, you know you're always in Krishna consciousness. You're eternal. Okay, we are very steady. Dhira. That's point. Okay, Ngala. So quite a short purport. Straightforward points. We have repeated many points again and again. So I will stop here. Is there any questions? Excuse me. So we have time for Q&A. So if there's any questions, you can ask.
Prabhu, I want to ask one question regarding to the spiritual form.
Mm.
So currently, what happened to the spiritual form? Why we cannot see it? Or okay, because the other thing is the soul. The definition of soul being given is like it's like 1/10 of the tip of the hair அப்படின்னு வந்துட்டு பிரபுபாத் சொல்லியிருக்காரு purportல in
Okay.
the two. So
Mm. Mm.
did the spiritual form become smaller to that small, or what happened to the spiritual form when you're coming down to this material world?
No, all of us have the Atma, our soul. It is in a constitutional position by nature originally. It has a form. We are not without a body. ஓகேங்களா, whether in material world or spiritual world, சரிங்களா, we have a body. இதான் முதல்ல நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். சரிங்களா, it is not that once you die you know body. No, even in material world we are getting 8.4 million species of body. Clear, right? Same time in our original position there is also body. So that body is actually no difference with our self. That is the beauty. புரியுதுங்களா? That means why I'm telling no difference, because it is spiritual in nature. So what is the meaning spiritual in nature? When we are speaking about spiritual in nature, that means it is eternal. Just like the soul, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. சரிங்களா, இதுதான் spiritual. இப்ப என்ன பிரச்சனை வருதுன்னா, when we don't want, we are rebellious. அதான் ப்ரோபர்ட் சொல்லுவாரு, when we are rebellious, when we want to enjoy, we want to lord it over the matter, we want to enjoy like Krishna. அந்த டெண்டன்சி நம்மளுக்கு வரும்போது என்ன ஆகுது? That's why we are envious being, ப்ரோபர்ட் சொல்லுவாரு. Envy means what? The Mayavadis want to become God, and also like us, we want to enjoy like Krishna. So that moment what happened? We will drop down. So when we drop down, what happened? This is material situation. This is material universe. The mechanism here working through three modes of material nature. So our spiritual body, it cannot come here. So you have given a special body, temporary. Other temporary. But once you finish your business, you go back to your original body. அதுதான் point. So your spiritual body is waiting. Basically உங்களுடைய உண்மையான பாடி வெயிட்டிங் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கு. நீங்க சும்மா இப்ப இங்க என்ன சொல்றது, அங்கசாவன் சூட்ல வந்திருக்கீங்க. Once you done your business, you have to go back. That is understanding. புரியுதுங்களா பிரபு? So yes, of course the size of the size, when you speaking about size, it is mentioned for our understanding. Yes, it is very minute, it is transcendental, it is subtle, right? But when we go back to spiritual world, right, there is no difference. We have a body just like how we are having right now. Everything is there. But what's the difference? We don't get old. We won't get sick. We won't get COVID. There's no disease, no old age, no miseries. அதுதான் difference. சரிங்களா? So when we saying same means not that the same like size like soul. You see, the size of the soul, it is actually transcendental. You cannot use your material measurement to measure soul actually. That is why Shastra is giving analogy to understand soul. Yes, it is very minute, it's very subtle. அத நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Right? But once we go back to Vaikuntha, definitely the body is not there just like minute like that. You have a whole body just how you are. Yes, different people, different activities, different everything will be there. And it is not different than you. Atma. இதுதான் point. சரிங்களா பிரபு? It is not that just because your size of the soul is very minute, that means your body is also must be minute. Not like that. Just like now our body is so huge. நல்லா பாருங்களா, இப்போ your body is so huge, but the soul is minute. So similarly, when we go there, the soul remains the same. It's minute, subtle, but we also will have a inconceivable, transcendental body. That is for sure. புரியுதுங்களா? So there's no any problem. There's no any என்ன சொல்றதுன்னா delay, ma'am. Is that clear now?
I understand the concept, Prabhu, but I still have a bit confused on the part of like, okay, my next question would be spiritual form சொல்றப்ப currently soul, when coming down, do we and the soul comes to this material world, does it come together with the spiritual form or no?
Oh, you see, spiritual form, it is in spiritual world. Okay? Because when you come here, you are given a temporary suit. You are given a temporary suit, temporary body, so that you can fulfill your desire. Because spiritual body are meant to serve Krishna. Okay? You must understand, spiritual body are meant to serve Krishna. So the problem is, you are going against the law. You are having a spiritual body, but your whole desire is want to lord it over the matter. So therefore, Krishna says, okay, no problem, pa. நீ கீழே போயிட்டு நீ settle பண்ணிட்டு வா. So therefore, your spiritual body is withheld. Therefore, you have a spiritual body. But the moment you realize your position as a servant of Krishna, and you go back to Krishna, as Krishna said in 14.2, then you will go back to your spiritual body. So that is why there is no repetitive birth and death. You know why? Because spiritual body, there is no death, there is no old age, there is no disease. Is no point. So yes, so basically your spiritual body is there waiting. Your spiritual body is waiting for you. The problem is you are lost in this jungle. Samsaradava nalalidaloka Tranaya karunya gana ganatvam. Right? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur சொல்றாருல Samsara dava anala. The whole material world is like a burning forest, jungle. It is so much of suffering. And the spiritual master is like the like the clouds which are pouring rain, to help us, to cool down us and bring us back. So same thing, we are lost in this jungle and we have forgotten. What to speak of spiritual body, Prabhu? You have forgotten you are the servant of God. You have forgotten that you are different than the current body. You have forgotten many things. So இதெல்லாம் நம்ம revive பண்ணி புரிஞ்சாதான், then we can think about spiritual world. Then you can know your spiritual body. Then you can know you can serve Krishna. இதெல்லாம் இவ்வளவு விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு. So the point என்னன்னா forgetfulness. So the moment you contact with Maya, forgetfulness. So அதான் நம்மளுடைய disease, forgetfulness. So அவ்வளவுதான். So conclusion என்ன? Yes. Basically, there is a spiritual body awaiting. That is your real body, Prabhu. புரியுதுங்களா? Because why it is a real body? Because that is your real position to serve Krishna. Now we have become forgotten. You are using some temporary body. So அப்ப நம்ம என்ன சொல்றோம்? You use this body to serve Krishna, to get spiritualized. You become liberated. So once you leave this body, you will get a spiritual body. அதான் பாயிண்ட். ஸோ அதான் ஆச்சரியர் சொல்றாங்க. சரிங்களா? ஸோ அதர்வைஸ் how you going to serve Krishna? அதான் கேள்வி. If there's no any body, no any spiritual body, நீங்க சொல்லுங்களேன், எப்படி நம்ம பகவானுக்கு சேவை செய்ய முடியும்? And your current body, our current body is useless. It was created, then it do some byproduct, maintenance for a while and become degraded. Correct or not? After 10 years, white hairs will be coming, wrinkles will be coming. So how you going to become eternal by such body? So adanala this body is not fit to be in Vaikuntha. So that is why in order to go to Vaikuntha, you need a certain qualification, criteria. First criteria, your consciousness. You must be Krishna consciousness. Automatically, you will be eligible for everything. You have a spiritual body, you will have your spiritual position, and you will be serving Krishna according to your consciousness. Your relationship with Krishna. It is not point. Is that clear?
Okay, Prabhu. I get the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so what is the difficulties, right? It's quite straightforward, very, very beautiful, perfect philosophy. No one can give you this philosophy. You tell me. You go and read anywhere. You go and find anywhere, any religion. They don't even know the basics of Atmajnana. So what to speak of spiritual body? What to speak of spiritual universe? What to speak of, activities? they don't even know, God as a form. So, point it. Okay. So, any other question? Okay. So, if they know any other question, I will stop here. We will continue again next week with 14.3. Right. So, I suggest everyone to read up the purport, read up the shloka before we start our discussion. Okay. So, thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarobhyascha, kripa sindhubhya eva cha, patitanang pavinebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.